Welcome to Tax Court TV. I'm your host, Melinda Tolbert, Chief Executive Officer of MJ Tax Relief Group.
And I'm your host, Josie Harris-Walton, tax partner of QPWB Law Firm.
Today we have a really special guest that we are going to get into a lot of real life situations in the tax industry. What happens before indictment, what happened after indictment, sentencing, life after prison. We're going to talk about it all today. So Danielle, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for coming onto our platform and sharing your story. Is this your first time sharing your story?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Wow.
Are you nervous?
It's just the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
People need to hear it. They need to hear it.
Yes.
They need to hear the truth. So back in 2014, you were charged with defrauding the Internal Revenue Service. They allegedly stated that you submitted approximately 187 fraudulent tax returns. And I know, and they allegedly stated that it resulted in a government loss of $494,000. So you are laughing because it really is a joke. It's what happened to you is not a joke, but the way the government sometimes play in our faces, is sad. So your first count 1 through 4 was for wire fraud. And we'll get into the details later. Right now, I'm just going to read the counts that they charged you with. Your counts 5 through 8 was aggravated identity theft.
Yep. And then the charges for count 9 through 10 was false, fictitious, or fraudulent claims.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that comes up at, but okay. And so that's what they said the charges were. So after they did the indictment, they came back and they said that you only had how many charges?
3.
3 charges. Okay.
Wow.
Wow. So from there, from 1 through 10, they came back and said you only had 3 charges.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
So can you share your story and the events that led to your conviction for tax fraud?
Wow. Right. Like you implemented in the beginning, they said, oh, she did this. She got 10 charge, 187. I think the monetary amount was almost $500,000. Only to come back and, we only gonna get her with 3 charges. So it's amazing how they put it to the world that I had all of this, but silently, just shows, she just got charged with 3. See, that's not out there, how they put it. I was broadcast on the news. I think it played like maybe every time the news came on. Like I didn't even watch TV anymore.
Wow.
Because it was constantly on the news, and that's how they broadcast it. So they're saying, she got these millions of dollars, and I'm like, where the money at?
With that being said, I want to really say really quick. So I want to tell everybody what the amounts of the 3 charges, okay? So we're looking at count 2. Count 2 was only $4,676. Count 6 was $4,676. And then count 10 was $4,676. That was about $15,000.
Maybe.
That's what they put to the courts. But then go ahead and say
But publicly, it was what the monetary amount was like $500,000. I 187 false claims. So that was what was broadcast.
Where do you think they got those numbers from? Like when the 187, where did those numbers come from?
Actually, I don't know.
Wow.
Actually, I don't know. I didn't even have 187 clients, so
Wow.
I don't know where that number came from. And I was
Okay.
just like, wow, it's gonna throw me under the bus. You
Right.
know, like where all this come from?
Mhm.
Share with us, and for the viewers that don't understand the counts that we just read, share with us kind of, let's start with counts 1 through 4. Wire fraud. Why were you charged with wire fraud?
Because I was charged with wire fraud because, you know, in the tax industry, you can get it direct deposited
Mhm.
to certain accounts. And so that's where the wire fraud come in at.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you have 4 counts of wire fraud. And what about the aggravated identity theft?
I think aggravated means that it was something that it was done and maybe the victim didn't know about it. I think that's how.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Give us a little details about the identity theft. Are they saying that you stole numbers from certain places and used them to file the fraudulent tax returns?
Yes, like I had a list of names,
Mhm.
and that's what they're saying that, you know. So that's where the identity theft came in at.
Got you. Okay. So we talk behind the scenes about the date of when they came and actually picked you up. Kind of walk us through that and what happened.
Oh wow! So actually, the date that they actually picked me up, I was in the parking lot at work, and sitting in the car, getting ready to go in, and it was something kind of like out of the Matrix, like everything went still, like I remember it like it was yesterday, like it was everything was slow, and you was like, is this really happening? Like your blood pressure dropped, and you just see like they surrounded my car, they pulled out their guns.
Polices?
Well, I guess they would have.
Or feds?
It was the feds.
Feds,
It was
yeah.
the feds. Like there was an unmarked cars, and I'm sitting in my car like, is this really happening? But again, everything was in slow motion, and it's like you can hear your heartbeat. Like
Wow.
you can hear your heartbeat, and
So they had to be watching you to
Oh, of
know
course.
where you were,
Of course.
what time you go in.
I'll never forget the DA lady. She was a beast, and I said, you know, why you came to my job? Like, why you came to my job? You know, why are these guns drawn on me? She said, well, I could have got you this morning when you was walking your babies to the bus stop.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And she told me she had been watching me all week. And she was like, wow, you know, you're really a good person. And yeah.
But like, okay, why did she get you if she saw you that morning? Why did they have to try to publicly shame you
At your
at
job.
work?
But that's what she said. She said she wanted to make an example out of me.
An example?
Yeah.
How do you? Wow.
That was her
Did you
exact
get a
word.
criminal investigation first? Or did you have a criminal investigation where they did like a administrative investigation on you first, or did they go straight into the indictment?
I think they went straight into it because the information that was passed to them to come on to me, I think that person had cut a deal with them already.
Okay.
And
So
they
somebody snitched and you were a part of.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Somebody, you know, they got caught and they told on me and several other people. But because the business was in my name, I was primary, they came for me first. You know, everything came back to me. So, yeah.
So because you were the owner of the business,
Yes.
you had other tax preparers working at your business, but because you were the owner, you were held liable for everything that went out fraudulently.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like. If you
Yes.
sent 187 returns,
Yes.
Right.
That's what it sounds like.
I took accountability
for
for all
everybody.
of it. Yes, I did.
Okay. Wow. So, as a single mother, let's start with there, because I've been knowing you since I was a little girl. And when you shared with me what was going on, it was around the time my grandmother was in the hospital. I'll never forget that day. You came to the hospital and you shared with me what was going on. You actually had your paperwork, and I saw names in your paperwork that you took accountability for it all.
Wow.
Can't nobody say that Danielle snitched on this person or Danielle snitched on that person. And can't nobody say, they can't say that their names went in your paperwork, because I saw it myself. I saw that myself.
Ooh.
So what
know, right?
made you take responsibility for all of this?
those-
You were a
oh,
single
yeah.
parent.
Yeah.
Like, help me understand that loyalty that you had for people that didn't give a damn about you or your kids, because they didn't step up to the plate. And I'm sorry, it's messing with me, because I know what kind of person you are. I know how good of a person you are. I know how good of a parent you are to your kids. And for them to not step up to the plate and just let you take the rap for it all, it wasn't right.
Loyalty is everything to me. You know, I think loyalty and trust, and actually I had to check myself. Like I took accountability because I knew what I was doing wasn't right.
Right.
You know, I had my reasons. However, I knew it wasn't right. And so I just had to take accountability, and that's basically that's why.
What was your upbringing like?
It was, you know, I struggled.
Before,
How many kids do you have?
I have 4 kids.
Oh, wow. Okay.
4 kids.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Okay.
I have 4 kids.
Was something going on in your life, like, because when I heard about it, I was like, no, not Danielle. She's not that kind of person. She won't steal nobody's identity and file no false tax returns. But like you said, you took ownership of what you did. What made you make those decisions? What were you going through at that time?
Just having the weight of the world on your shoulder, you know, us as mothers, you carry everybody in your family on your shoulder. Everybody comes to you, you know, I'm the baby, but I'm the strong one.
Right.
Yes.
So my mom had cancer. My brother was sick with a deadly illness. So taking my mom in, they want to put her in hospice. No, I'm bringing my mama to my house.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
that's mama.
That's right.
And you know, with just that alone, with the cancer, and then my brother, he coming home falling ill, dying on me. You know, so I buried my brother. 3 months later, I buried my mom.
Jesus.
3 months later, I go through a horrific divorce. And then 3 months later, I get indicted. 3 months after that, I self-surrender. So I dealt with a lot. Like, but I felt like I stripped everything from me. And I thank God that between my brother's death, my mother's death, I thank God that happened before I left. Because I was in prison, and people were losing their mind because their moms passing, their brothers passing, their family passing.
Wow.
And they're not letting you come out them gates.
No.
They don't care nothing about that.
Okay.
So I had a lot on me. Just trying to carry the weight, trying to make sure my children are taken care of, because I know, trying to give them what I didn't have.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And I think that was more of the reason why I did what I did. You know?
Wow. That's just, I understand what you're going through with that mother and brother, because my mom passed out from cancer, and a month and a half later, my brother passed. Yeah. So I totally get that. Like you said, and you know, everybody looks at us. It's like they always say, check on your strong friends, right?
Yes.
Check on your strong friends, because we carry everything, because nobody thinks we have any issues or anything going on. So I totally get what you're saying. So what happened after after they came and arrested you? Well, I think you turned yourself in, right?
Well,
You self-surrendered.
I was able to self-surrender, but after it hit, they came and got me in, and it hit the news. I think I stayed in holding overnight. Next day I got an order release, a OR, a $10,000 OR bond. So with that, of course, I lost my job. I did call my job and apologize for any embarrassment that I may cause upon their company. I did that. I called the COO and like, you know, look, I'm not perfect, but I apologize. And she definitely accepted my apology. So I'm glad she did that. And then everything just kind of went downhill. Like I sold everything in my house. My kids, I had a great friend, her and her mother, they took all 3 of my girls.
Wow.
That's priceless. So my kids wouldn't be split up. And you know, and there was other people that say, oh, I get this one, I get that one. But, you know, and I love you, Mama Sent. Thank you, Bernice. You know, that's priceless. I can never pay them back.
That's right.
You know, and she took all 3 of my girls. Wow. You know, like...
Wow.
So I got that sense of peace. But up until I did self-surrender, I felt like people treated me as I had leprosy. Nobody wanted to be around me. Nobody, because, you know, they didn't know. And you know, I get all of that. But if you love somebody and you care about somebody, like, I don't care what they did, you know. But it showed me. And I'm grateful for that. I didn't have to ask no questions. I didn't have to fall out with nobody. Your action showed me everything. Wow. So no discussion needed.
Right. So how long from the time from the time that you went and bond out to the time you self-surrendered? Well, you said 3 months?
Yeah.
So people treated you like that for 3 months? Nobody
wanted to be around me. My phone stopped ringing. You know, when the phone ring all the time, and, hey, I need to pay this, I need this. And my answer always, come get it.
Yeah, because I know a lot of tax professionals who take care of their community.
Yes.
All the time. They take care of their community all the time.
I never told nobody no. I don't recall ever telling nobody no. I was always told by my good friend that, you know, Danielle, you just too naive. You give too much. But baby, when them tables turn,
And
my
they
God,
they do turn, yeah.
It showed me. My phone stopped ringing. I don't think my phone rung unless it was my children.
Wow. What was that like?
Yeah.
First, after I read your sentencing, like my inside crumbled. What was that like for you at court?
I felt like my life was just over. Like, it's over with. I'm not going to be able to do anything after this. Like, it just felt like it was over with. It didn't feel like it was real. I was like, okay, this is really not happening. But it was. It was. People treat you differently.
What was it like? Did you have to go straight to prison after court?
Actually,
or did they give you some time?
Actually, they let me self-surrender due to my background. Working in the ER for 13 years plus. I was in school. They let me. So I actually was able to finish my last class. I was actually enrolled in CVCC and I was going for my nursing.
Okay.
So I was actually almost done. The last day of the semester, I was able to complete that and get my credits. And then the next day I had to self-surrender.
Wow.
So they actually let me self-surrender.
What was that like outside of, because I know it was a culture shock.
Oh man. So I actually self-surrendered to Aliceville.
Okay.
That's like 5 hours away. I was like, are we there yet? But anyway, we get there and we got this little camp over there. And I was like, oh, that's going to be it. That's going to be it. I'm going to be all right. And you got the max prison over there. And they got the sticky bars and the barbed wire. And I was like, okay. So I go in and I said, I'm here to self-surrender. And he was like, oh, okay. At the camp. They said, you know what, Miss Wallace? They need you for head count over there.
At the maximum prison?
I said, well, I was supposed to come to camp. Like, I want to be over here.
Right,
I want to be over here where it ain't no gun line over here. I want to be over here. And so they was like, no. So my behind the fence, my head count turned into 3 years.
That is insane.
I did majority more than majority of my time in a max prison when I was supposed to be at a camp. So, yeah,
What was that like?
that was a culture shock. It was. It
Like,
most.
is it like what we see on TV?
TV, yeah,
Or
yeah.
Well, you got some people that's throwed off. You got some people that's never seeing daylight. So trouble is their name. You know what I'm saying? Like that you got people in there that will try to hurt and harm you and steal, and you got people in there like that. So yeah, it's exactly like that.
Wow. So I want to go back a little bit on the indictment, and then what happened after that. So did you hire an attorney? Kind of go and tell me what happened with that. And then did you actually go to court?
Yes, I hired an attorney. I didn't know at the time that I was his first federal case.
Oh no, he didn't. No, he didn't do that.
Yes, he
didn't
did.
do that. Mm-mm.
That's what I was told. I don't think he fought for me. He wanted my jewelry and my possessions, so I gave it to him.
Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean you want your jewelry and possessions?
Because I was like short monies, and
He took all your assets.
he took my Michael Kors watch. He took my
and
necklaces.
that was your payment to him.
Half of it, yes.
But technically, he's supposed to, because all that's supposed to go to
He did.
forfeiture. But
He did.
Okay,
He
wow.
He did.
So he didn't take it and give it to the government.
He took it for
it
himself.
as his payment.
Yes, he did.
Oh wow.
He did. I had some his and hers watches. I had actually 3 sets of watches, jewelry. Yeah, he did.
So when you say you don't feel like he fought for you,
He did.
he did not fight for you.
He did.
So what happened after that? Like, did you have to go to court and plead your case and all that?
He asked me to plea out. He said, "That's your best bet. Plea
Because
out."
from looking at your trial, your case, it showed you you was not guilty at first, and then you went back and changed to guilty,
Right.
a guilty plea, and that was a recommendation of him.
Yes, because he said from the PSI
Yeah,
that
exactly.
from the young lady that was telling, he was like, well, she told all this on you, so plea out. Again, it's like Spanish to me. I don't nothing.
Right.
That's
I know
right.
about healthcare. I don't know about,
Exactly.
Right.
so I didn't understand, and I'm thinking he's the best when I thought.
Wow. And so I think I'm just saying that's why you pleaded.
Yes.
Is because he advised you to do
He
so, because
advised
he
me
said
to.
that they had all this stuff on you.
Yes.
And my thing is that accuser, and as a defense attorney, accuser should be meeting there and be able to prosecute and talk to the witness who's saying you did what you did.
Right.
That's my thing with that, is that you're talking about what somebody else said,
Yes.
not what was on paper, what somebody else said.
Yes.
And that's what you're going to tell your client to plead out with that.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the only evidence
that he had, that he
Is that
said?
what he based his recommendation off of, because of what she
Yes.
said.
Yes.
Wow.
Because
That's why it's important to
Yeah.
have good
good
representation.
representation. Because the PSI we can't see because of course it's sealed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because see, I didn't get the PSI until after I got out on my OR bond. When I got out on the order release bond, I was like, let me get that paperwork. Let me see what's in that paperwork. And so that's when I got that. That's of course that's what you saw.
That's with all the names
So
on it.
yes,
Oh, okay.
Everything that how to come to you. Like,
Right.
so I was like, okay, and I'm like, wow. And apparently that person had cut a deal already, and apparently it had happened like 3 months before, and I didn't know.
Have you confronted that person? Have you
No.
had a conversation with that
Oh,
person? So they don't even know that you know.
You know that they did
They
that.
probably think that you know.
Oh, she knows. She knows that I know.
Because she would have to been a witness just in case she went to trial.
She knows. She knows. She knows that I
Wow.
know.
Do you still have any kind of relationship with that person?
Oh no.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have no ill will, none of that. I wouldn't trade my journey for nothing.
Right.
Wow.
What did it teach you? What did this journey, what did it teach you?
It taught me how to be and I don't mean this, I mean this in the most humblest way, selfish with yourself.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries. Self-care, self-love. That's what it taught me.
I think God always takes us through a forced journey.
Yes,
Because
that's
your loyalty to
Yeah.
people
To-
runs
yes.
so deep. The only way he can show you what he needs you to see is by forcing it on you.
Yeah.
And I hate that you had to go
Me
through
too.
this journey,
yeah.
but it probably was needed.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of conversations with you back in the past, 10 plus years ago, telling you that ain't your friend. And I don't care nothing about it. I will still tell you to this day, those people don't mean you any good. But that had to happen for you to see that.
Oh yes, almost that. I mean that and other things. I mean it was a lot of. We'll be here all day
Right.
with the life lessons, but I think the blessing out of it is the beauty. Is that understanding it.
Right.
Once you get it, okay, I got it.
So when we make bad decisions, it not only affects us, it affects our kids as well, and our spouses if we're married.
Yeah.
How did this affect your relationship with your kids?
It definitely made our bond closer than what I thought it already was, but it definitely broke my babies. And
how old were they?
I was going to ask you a question.
when I left,
Yes.
so my 24-year-old, she was in the 10th grade. My 18-year-old, I think she was in the 6th grade. And my 15-year-old, I think she was probably in the 3rd grade, 2nd grade.
Wow.
So yeah.
What's that like? Share what that experience was so people can really see the reality of what happens when we make bad decisions.
It did something. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Yeah.
It's like you beat yourself up as a parent because you made this decision. You know why you made those decisions, but you beat yourself up as a parent because you can't get that time back.
Yeah.
You know, and you feel like if they was having any failures or they were having bad times in their life, you blame yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so it took a long time for me to stop blaming myself and beating myself up. It took a long time because we are our worst own critic. Like,
That's right. Yeah.
you know, so I'm sorry. Yeah.
Wow.
That wasn't easy at all, you know.
If you had one thing to share with your kids, and I'm sure you probably already had this conversation with them, but at some point, and I shared with you when I was younger, watching my mom go through her addiction, I kind of blamed myself a lot when she gave me to my grandmother. I kind of felt like they didn't want me because I had other brothers and sisters. So I blamed myself for a lot. Like, what am I doing wrong? And when I became an adult, I learned why I'm a perfectionist. Like, I don't want to do anything wrong, and it takes me back to my abandonment childhood issues. So what can you share with other people that are going through the same thing that you went through, that are experiencing the mommy guilt that we always have, the mommy guilt? How did what got you through it with your kids?
Counseling. like
Counseling.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Okay.
counseling. I advise everybody to try counseling because
Yes.
it definitely opened up wounds that you think were closed.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you let it all out,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
So I dealt with mine with counseling. And at first, when they actually recommended counseling part of my release because of my work background, me in school. And it was like, so me thinking it's not going to even affect me. I was mad at first, like, why I got to go in here? But then after that, once a month, I was so ready to go see her, because it's a release.
Mm-hmm.
It's a release. You will be amazed at what still triggers you. You will be amazed. I'm talking about years, childhood. You will be amazed what is still embedded in you. And okay, so this is why I act this way, or this is why I react this way. Certain things trigger you, and those need to be released. I think all of that needs to be released. I think every woman that experienced this prison, they definitely need the psychiatrist. It don't mean you crazy.
Right.
It don't mean you crazy.
Yeah.
That was a bonus for me, and it helped me tremendously.
And counseling started in prison?
No, when I came home and the probation officer and all of that, well, you got to do this and you got to do. I'm like, well, I got to do nothing wrong with me. And she was like, no, they put it mandatory in my release that that was part of what I had to do, and I had to do that for a year and a half, and I was livid.
Wow.
I'm like, so you want me to leave work? I gotta work. Y'all garnishing my check. Like, what y'all want me to do? Like, so I was livid. But after about 2 months, I couldn't wait for every Tuesday.
Wow. Wow.
You mentioned
The
garnishment.
garnishment.
It's a good time to talk about life after prison. People think when you get out, you're free. You can jump back to doing what you're doing. You can go and get that good job.
That's right.
Help us understand, because I've learned a lot just by having a conversation with you. I had no idea that the things that are happening to you, it kind of feels like you're still in prison.
And like you're still being punished.
Right.
For what you did.
Right. So, with that being said, you look at it like, okay, God, I done took my whipping. I done sat down. I done did my time. When is this over? So I did do 3 years supervised probation.
Okay.
Completed that. At first they were garnishing 25% of my wages out of every check.
As soon as you got
out?
As soon as I came home. Well, they was garnishing me while I was in prison. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Okay.
They were garnishing me. I worked at the Powerhouse and I made 37 cents an hour. So they took a portion of my little, so if I made $25 for the month, I think they took a portion of the $25. So I might had $12, maybe $13 left out of my work.
What are they gonna do with $20?
They took it, and that's when the garnishment started. So as soon as I came home, of course, I hit the ground running, ankle monitor on and all. So they started garnishing they was taking like 25%. So I called down there to the middle district and I said, hey, I got 2 children. How am I supposed to make it? Y'all are taking 25% of my check every week. Well, so I went down there and I cut the food and I said, well, y'all can just go ahead and put me back in prison because I still feel like I'm in prison.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I said that, she said, well, we'll drop it down to 10%. But I had to go down there and act like Whoopi Goldberg on Sealy. You know what I'm saying? I had to go down there, snot running down my nose, really?
Gosh.
So they dropped it down to 10%. So I've been home 6 years and they take my income tax check every year, the whole income tax check, and they still garnish me as of right now.
And so, just how much? So what was the restitution? Do you remember how much it was?
So the restitution they hit me with was $100,000 in restitution, and so far I've paid down to about $70,000.
Wow.
So I got 70,000 left.
Wow. Oh my goodness. How do
I don't.
how do you make it with like that? I mean, with 10% about it, you know?
I'm not.
You're not. That's what I'm saying. So it's like you're still,
Yeah.
and they still have you captured.
Yeah.
Because they're taking 10% out of your check.
This system it's a setup for failure. It's a setup for failure. They don't have nothing implemented in line. All them
No resources.
no resources. No, they don't have nothing lined up for us when we come home.
But wow. To my understanding, there's no resources.
None.
But there are stipulations on where
What
you can and can't work.
And what you can and can't do, right?
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
you have to get permission to do certain things?
Yes. Well, that's when you're unsupervised.
Okay.
When you're unsupervised, yes. Like I took my girls to Murder Beach. We all went to Murder. I had to get permission for that.
Wow.
And only my probation officer saw that I was a hard worker. I've been, like I said, I hit the ground running when I came home. She was like, "Oh yeah, you can go. You know, you don't give me any trouble. You know, but they pop up at your house unannounced. Yeah, they check your computers. They took my phone, I think twice. I was without a phone.
For how long?
Probably like 7 days. They overnight it back to you in the mail.
They check and see what you're doing.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
they take your computer, but I didn't have a computer, so I wasn't worrying about that. But they definitely took my phone. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's doing the supervised release.
Yes.
And then after the supervised release, you still paying the 10%.
Yeah,
Because
they
you
still.
gotta pay down the restitution.
Yes.
I just want to know restitution to who? Because who got the money? I mean, worth it. I don't understand that when you're when the counts were only $2,600, no, $4,600 a piece. What was the $100,000 restitution?
Yes. So
I just don't understand that.
yes.
Wow.
Wow.
So, what advice would you have or give to single mothers like you, back up against the wall, no support system, nobody to turn to, but here's this opportunity that was presented to me that I can make X, Y, Z. All I need to do is I get one big check and I'm done. What advice would you have for people with that state of mind right now?
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You can't get that time back from your family, from your loved one, your spouse. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
And that's the thing is, a lot of tax professionals think that they can make, you know, we hear all the Facebook posts or whatever. You can make $100,000 in 4 months.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying that can't happen, but the thing is that a lot of times, I'm not saying all the time, a lot of times to get that money, you have to do stuff that's illegal.
Yep.
And that's pretty much how you end up in a situation like yours. Is that right?
That's correct.
Because I don't think people realize that actually is what happened.
Yes.
They'll think, I'll never get caught. I'll never get caught. Did you
Yeah.
ever think that?
I don't even think I was thinking like that because I felt like my good outweighed my bad.
Gotcha.
Because
Oh,
I
right.
had
Okay, yeah.
I had real
Yeah.
clients. I had
Exactly.
real clients. I had started in 2007
Mhm.
and I had real clients. People came to me every year, even since I've been home. Miss D, you doing taxes, Miss D? I'm like, no, no,
Yeah. Wow.
So you look at all my good outweigh the bad, but
That's not the case. Wow.
So, reading your sentencing sheet, you were sentenced 65 months.
Yeah.
With conditions. And I want to announce these conditions so people can understand that you're not just given time in prison. Your conditions were: defendant shall not possess firearm or other dangerous weapons. So have you gotten your rights to carry back yet? So you can't even protect yourself or your family right now.
Wow. Even after the supervised release. Wow.
Defendant.
no. After the supervised release, but you got to pay it.
It's
The
a
lawyers that I
process.
went to through, everybody want to charge me an arm and a leg.
To go back and get.
Right.
I don't have it. I'm trying
That's
to.
right. And they're taking 10% out of your check.
Yeah. So, even people just to see me, oh, okay, it's $1,500 just to come in and talk to me. I said, oh,
Wow.
Wow.
Defendant to cooperate in the collection of DNA.
yeah.
Wow. Are you still having to do
No,
that?
I don't have to do it.
Okay. Defendants shall make restitution in the amount of $100,186.23 to the victims. Did you meet the victims? Have you had a
I
conversation
met
with the victims?
one victim. It was,
Okay.
from my understanding, it's one victim, not 187 victims.
So this 100,000 is for one person?
I don't know who it's for.
Because it doesn't add up.
It's not clear.
It's not adding
right.
up because
It's not
you know,
clear.
Even with the 3 charges that I do have,
That's
It was
that
$15,000.
monetary, yes,
Right.
yeah. That so
It wasn't
I paid
100,000.
that 3, maybe 4 times already.
Wow.
So why are y'all still?
One that's really stuck out to me, defendant is prohibited from incurring new credit charges or opening additional lines of credit without approval of the United States PO.
Yeah, that was.
So if you wanted to get on your computer and apply for a Lowe's card, you have to have permission to do that.
Yeah, while you're on supervised probation,
Wow.
you do.
Wow. I mean, this is definitely, like you said, setting somebody up for failure.
Yeah.
Because even after this, after supervised release, you still are getting 10% taken out of your check. So how can you afford to even get a card if you wanted a card, right?
Yeah.
Or wanted certain things, you still can't afford to do that because you're still paying for $100,000 restitution that you're not even sure where that comes from. It doesn't add up. The amounts doesn't add up to me. I mean, I looked at this case backwards and forwards. I just don't see the amounts adding up.
Right.
If it's 3 charges at $4,600.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So the government is definitely still failing us. People do make bad decisions.
Yeah.
That don't make them a bad person.
That's
They
right.
just made a bad
A decision.
decision.
Mhm.
The fact that there aren't any resources
No.
available, they kind of just kick you out and say, go figure it out.
Mhm.
But you can't do this, and
Yes.
this. But I need you to do this, and this.
Yeah.
Like it's a setup for failure.
It's a setup for failure.
Definitely a setup
It's
for
a
failure.
setup for failure.
Your mindset though, I kind of feel like God took you through this journey because number one, there aren't any resources.
Mhm.
Maybe you're the person to start those resources for
Yeah.
other people when they come home.
I most definitely looked into that. Again, you need money and credit
Yeah.
to start it.
Yeah.
And I definitely would like to start some type of platform for giving second chances,
Mhm. Right.
to felons, where they can get a job, where they can get resources and housing and all of that, because it's none out here.
No, it's not.
It's none out here.
Wow. Wow.
And the only way, they want you to work,
Mhm.
but and the only way to get food stamps or Medicaid or Section 8, they really don't want you to make no income.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn if you do and damn if you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, it's a total setup for failure.
And a lot of those resources, if you're a convicted felon, then you don't even
You don't
qualify.
qualify for those resources. Exactly.
Unless you lie.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's another
That's-
felony.
Yeah, exactly.
If
And
you
you
lie
don't
to
want
the-
nothing to
lie
come
the
back on it,
government. So it's like damned if you do or damned if you don't.
It really is.
Like,
It really is.
wow,
It
Queen,
really is.
I want you to really, and I know that you have to have money and resources to be able to start something like what's needed. But just put it out there. You never know who's willing to help you.
That's right.
You just put it out there. You never know until you try.
Yep.
You'll be surprised at how much money people make, and how much funds they raise because they're trying to do a cause like this.
That's
and
right.
this is like, I don't know anywhere in the United States where you can go and get those resources because it's federal. So it's all states. It's no resources anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, how are you all supposed to get ahead when you get out? And that's why when people get out, that's why a lot of them go back.
Go back.
because
That's
it's
right.
it's
Go
set up
back.
it's set up for a revolving door.
Yeah.
And you know,
Mhm.
I want to take something back since you said that, when they told me head count. So about after the second year, I did the research and I was like, okay, well, how much is head count? Went in the library. I think they get about, for federal, a year for each person. I think they get like maybe 45,000 per person.
yeah.
Per person?
Yeah.
Per person. And get this, think about it. When I was in Alabama, it was about maybe 900 of us there. You do the math.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
People
Yeah.
don't understand that.
head count is
Yes.
important to
Yeah.
them.
Oh, yeah.
So when I say it's set up for failure, it's set up for failure for us to be a revolving door. But baby, the devil is a lie.
You better
Because
say
baby,
it,
God
Queen.
had
You
set me
better
down
say
one
it.
time. Do you hear me? And I got it. And
Yeah.
if I'm able to give back,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's what I really want to do.
And you know, I think being on a platform like this and actually telling your story,
Mhm.
that's what's gonna get you that resources to help
Right.
other people
Yeah.
like you.
Yeah.
Have you thought about, you know, I know you haven't probably think about ever doing taxes again?
Do you have that right?
Oh yeah, I still
Yeah,
have my
she-
route.
yeah,
I still
'cause
have
you
my
didn't- I
right,
didn't
and
see it
I
yet.
actually love, because I'm a people person and I love
Mhm.
people.
Yes.
And you know, I mean, it's not out the window, but I just, some stuff you just don't want to look back at.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah,
so
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Because if you do it correctly,
of course,
you can make really good money in
Yes.
this industry,
Mhm.
right?
right.
And which helps with resources. I was just asking that question, but
Oh yes,
I totally
most
understand.
definitely, most
I
definitely,
totally
I would,
understand.
most
not,
definitely.
not even revisiting something like that, because that's I
Right.
mean that's trauma in itself.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Revisiting that, so yeah, wow.
yes.
Your story is amazing. It
It
really is.
is.
And
It
you're
is.
amazing. Like I said, you don't look nothing like what you've been through, baby.
Or going through.
Or going through,
You're
exactly.
Still going
That's
through.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So keep
Well-
telling your story.
Yes.
Put your platform out there.
Yeah.
Because people need to hear this.
Yeah. They do.
They need to hear this. They really do. So
And we'll do what we can
Yes.
on our end
Yes.
to help you get your rights back.
Yes.
yes.
We'll if we can't do it, then we'll try our best to connect you with the people
People who
that have the
can.
resources and can
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you
Thank you.
deserve it.
Absolutely.
deserve it.
Everybody deserves a
That's-
second
everybody
chance.
deserves a
Everybody.
chance.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow.
Well, we appreciate
Yes,
you so
thank you
much
so
for
much.
coming.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you for
Tell your
having me.
story.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything that you want the viewers to know
Yes.
that we didn't get to touch on?
Just don't give up. Just don't give up. You know, what I have in my head is, when I'm watching my grandbaby, just keep swimming.
Oh.
And just keep swimming, you know,
yes,
just keep going.
yes,
Just keep
yes,
going.
yes,
Yes.
Wow.
Like Honduras, just
You
keep
keep
swimming.
Just keep swimming. Yes.
You gonna say that, mamas, 'cause y'all know that.
Yes, great
Crazy that you
kids.
say that though, because some days I struggle like hell with not having a parent.
Yes.
One parent's
Yes.
deceased and the other parent he's in the world, but he's not in my world.
Yeah.
So I don't have that. And it's crazy in my head. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. That's hilarious.
Yes. Yes.
Well, we
Yes.
appreciate
Yes,
you
we
again
do.
for
Queen,
coming.
Thank
thank you
you.
so much
Thank you
for
for
coming and
having
telling
me.
your story.
Yes,
Thank
I'm
you
sure
for
that
having me.
is going to help and encourage
Yes,
a lot
yes.
of people that are probably one step away from
Yeah.
committing suicide,
I'm telling you.
because it can take
The
you
mind, the mental, it's
Mhm.
really, really real. I've been at a suicidal point. I'm telling you, the
Wow.
mental is real.
Wow.
It's really
Wow.
real. It's really real.
Well, you are strong.
Yes.
You are strong.
Yes.
I
Thank
love it.
you.
Well, we appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes.